Hi, everybody. So I'm redoing my recording. If you joined the live event, I'm so sorry that you couldn't hear me. For some reason, my mic wasn't working. So thanks for joining in the Social Entrepreneur webinar, where you're going to learn how to make money and change the world. For those of you who don't know, I'm Renee the Professional, and I help business owners find out what makes them stand out so that they can become a success in business and in life. If you want to learn more about me and what I do, go ahead and visit me at www.itsmertp.com. So let's get started. What is social entrepreneurship? Really, it's just a buzzword, a cool word applied to an old concept. So what's that concept? It's basically an entrepreneur who identifies and solves social problems on a large scale, much in the same way that business entrepreneurs create innovations that transform whole industries. Social entrepreneurs are society's change agents who see solutions and resources where others only see problems. They find ways to improve systems, invent new approaches to old problems, and move along sustainable solutions that create social value. The biggest difference between social entrepreneurs and the traditional definition of entrepreneurship is that social entrepreneurs primarily seek to generate social value rather than profit. Another thing to note is that unlike most nonprofit organizations, their work is targeted, not just towards immediate small scale effects, but widespread long term change. Now that seems great, right? You get that warm, fuzzy feeling in your heart and you begin giving out hugs. Then reality hits and your mission staggers because we live in a capitalist society in which nothing can really happen, let alone sustain, without revenue. So, what now? Well, let's backtrack first and take a walk down history lane and look at some of the world's most famous social entrepreneurs. First, we're going to look at John Muir. He's an American naturalist, an inventor, and a writer. In the late 1800s, his lobbying efforts resulted in the creation of America's first national park. He went on to form the Sierra Club and worked with President Roosevelt to establish the U.S. National Park System, which is still in place today. Next up, Florence Nightingale, an Englishwoman of the Victorian era who received an exceptional education and went on to practice nursing. At the time, nursing was seen as a lower career choice. Regardless, she persevered, fought to improve hospital conditions during wartime, and established the first school for nurses. Not only did her achievements bring respect to the profession, but she is now considered the founder of modern nursing. Okay, one more. Susan B. Anthony, every modern woman's hero. In the late 1800s, she was the ultimate woman's advocate whose work resulted in the 19th Amendment guaranteeing women the right to vote. Her work extended on and is responsible for the gender revolution, which led to advances in women equality in voting, employment, and all aspects of life. Now, we might not be where we want to be as women on those issues, but we are a whole lot closer than we were in the 1800s. Pretty cool history lesson, huh? Bill Drayton, the CEO and founder of Ashka, a company that invests in social entrepreneurs, said it best when he summed up social entrepreneurs by saying that social entrepreneurs are not content just to give a fish or to teach how to fish. They will not rest until they have revolutionized the fishing industry. You gotta admit, that is pretty appealing and similar to some of our big business tycoons and venture capitalists, which leads us towards looking at how these two seemingly very different sectors can interact in a way in which both industries profit. For social entrepreneurship to work effectively, it must first focus on the social and or ecological value creation and then optimize the financial value creation. This concept of creating value is seen repeatedly through business marketing and strategy development. When you look at the food industry over the last decade, you notice the emphasis on adding value to old products to increase sales. Companies are no longer selling food, but rather nutrition, and therefore adding value to meet consumer needs. I mean, satisfying your hunger and doing something good for your body, it's a win-win. Okay, so let's go now and explore some models of how the two sectors interact. The Schwab Foundation for Social Entrepreneurship provides great examples, which we're going to review now. The first example is leveraged nonprofit ventures. Here, an entrepreneur sets up a nonprofit organization to drive the adoption of an innovation that addresses a market or government failure. In doing so, the entrepreneur engages a cross sector of society, including private and public organizations, to drive forward the innovation through a multiplier effect. This In this model, nonprofit ventures continuously depend on outside philanthropic funding, but their long-term sustainability is often enhanced given that the partners have a vested interest in the continuation of the venture. An example of this would be like a Big Brothers Big Sisters model. So the next example that we're going to look at is the hybrid nonprofit ventures. Here, an entrepreneur sets up a nonprofit organization, but the model includes some degree of cost recovery through the sales of goods and services to a cross sector of institutions, public and private, as well as the target population groups. To be able to sustain the transformation activities in full and address the needs of clients who are often poor and marginalized from society, the entrepreneur must mobilize other sources of funding from the public and or philanthropic sectors. Such funds can be found in the form of grants, loans, or even quasi-equity. An example of this would be Goodwill or the Salvation Army, in which their nonprofit activities are funded through a chain of thrift shops. Last, we're going to look at social business ventures. Here, an entrepreneur sets up a for-profit entity or business to provide a social or ecological product or service. While products are ideally generated, the main aim is to maximize financial returns for shareholders, the main aim is not to maximize financial returns from shareholders, but to grow the social venture and reach more people in need. Wealth accumulation is not a priority, and profits are reinvested in the enterprise to fund expansion. The entrepreneur of a social business venture seeks investors who are interested in combining financial and social returns on their investment. Forbes recently published a magazine article on the top 30 social entrepreneurs whose business operate in a social business venture model, and I would like to share two of them with you. The first one that was included in the list is Jane Chen. She's the founder of Embrace, whose mission is to advance maternal and child health by delivering innovative solutions to the world's most vulnerable populations. They sell infant warmers that maintain premature and low birth weight babies' body's temperature. The warmers are used in the hospitals and clinics that have unreliable electricity and heat lamps that don't always work. They are portable, safe, reusable, and require only limited access to electricity, and they sell for about $25 each. Our next social entrepreneur is Tom Sazek. He started the company TerraCycle, which creates organic fertilizer out of worm poop and can be found in Home Depot, Walmart, and Target. In addition, the company collects trash and turns it into bright, fun products like messenger bags made out of Capri Suns or urban trash cans. Now, his company grosses about $13 million per year, in which he donates 2 cents to charity off every item recycled. So far, he's raised about $3.2 million, which isn't bad for a college freshman with a $2,000 angel investor. The list goes on and on. But the point that I am trying to drive is that social change and profitable business can work hand in hand to solve complex problems. We have the privilege of living in a free market society to which has seen a boom in the rise of entrepreneurs, especially among millennials. Many of these are social entrepreneurs whose innovations are bringing electricity, water, medicine, and other life-changing tools and resources to people in the developing world. If you want to hit a little closer to home, we'll see a shift in the market among funders in which government grants are slowly decreasing, while funders no longer want to give large grants without some type of guarantee of a return on their financial investment. Many funders are requiring collaboration among agencies and have a very narrow area in which they will support. On the other hand, businesses are realizing the need to connect with customers on a more personal level while providing products that serve a practical as well as an emotional need. Meshed together in the right combination, a company can produce a healthy profit while providing solutions to social problems. So I have to give an honorable mention. Check out John Bon Jovi's Soul Kitchen. You can go to their website, jbjsoulkitchen.org. This restaurant serves healthy, three-course, most of the time organic meals. There's no prices on the menus, and when you go to eat there, you'll probably be seated around with somebody you don't know. Sounds crazy, right? Well, customers pay a minimum of $10 as a donation, or they volunteer in some way to earn a dining certificate in order to pay for their meal. Extra payments go towards paying towards someone's meal. This is a creative idea, a creative way to produce solutions towards hunger and the lack of social interaction thanks to technology. Okay, back to business. So I challenge every one of you to take a look at your company and think about what impact does your product or service have on consumers? Are you selling just for profit, or are you a for-profit for a purpose? Then really strategize and develop business models that add value to your company by providing more meaningful concepts around your products. The benefit your company will reap includes long-term sustainability of consumers who trust your brand because the ideals it upholds, but also the long-term sustainability and improved quality of life for us as a human race. So at this point in the presentation, I opened up for chat questions, but unfortunately my mic wasn't working, so they didn't happen. So if you want, you can email me your questions at letstalk@itsmertp.com or visit me at www.itsmertp.com. And if you sign up for a standout session series or enroll in the Apex client plan, I will include a free bonus session for value adding to your company from a social perspective. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know and we'll be in touch.